nah, if money was possible, somebody else would have already got it. Like, no, go get the fucking money. One thing you said about getting evicted, like, I remember being so humiliated as a kid that like my parents didn't pay the phone bill many times. And like there's people, my dad was in prison for a lot of my childhood and my uncle, and they were like front page of the newspaper for months. And so there'd be a lot of ornery things said in school. I had a lot of verbal and many violent altercations because of some of those things. And then by the time enough years went by that you could start to have something like a normal peer group or whatever, that then you don't have like a phone that because it's like your friends get out of school and say, oh, I'll call you in a little bit, and like I'm gonna go home and do blah blah blah, and I'll call you and we'll go do something. And I thought that was just awful. That I was too young to do much about it still, but I felt just awful about that. There's fucking up your peer group again, I had so many problems like that, financial problems or social problems as a kid, that I really wanted to make sure that I never had those problems as an adult. I just wanted to work and work and work and learn new things and implement them. Like learn more and work more and learn more and work more. And on one hand, I kind of flippantly say like, I'll buy whatever the fuck I want, and that's fine. But I never had that opinion. I never had that way about me until I'm like, well, I know a lot of shit about real estate. I know a lot of shit about, not only the stock market, but global economy in general. I can make money anywhere in the world with that. I have enough money already. I have knowledge to go make more money. If I didn't have money, I still would have made money in this recession. Not nearly as much, but I still would have made money. And I was doing entrepreneurial things since I was 7 years old, like more than a third of a century. So, and I got a fucking great peer group all around the world. So, there's a lot of smart people that are doing industrious things. Like, if I was broke as fuck, but I never betrayed core values, never, did anything incongruent. But on a serious note, I went out of my way to make a lot of really smart, high-quality friends around the world. That it's I don't think it'd be an exaggeration to say there's 50-ish people that are doing well, and they're going to continue to do very well. And it's not that I need something from them. I don't think I'm going to ever need anything from them. But it is nice to know that there's a lot of other industrious people that they'd look out for me in some way. Like, hey man, come help me build this, or hey, let's work on this together. And not in a charity type way, but like be happy to talk to me or help me with something if I was in a situation like that, So I feel there's layers and layers and layers of stuff that I've built up there, that you have a good financial foundation, multiple income streams, fantastic peer group, better than I ever dreamed of, So yeah, I know that I really know how that is to feel like you don't have shit, like you don't have financial resources, social resources, and I hated that so much that I really made sure to go live my life in a way that would allow me to have all those things, have long-term, high-quality relationships, make sure finances are good permanently, etc. And I don't spend any money that would be meaningful. I would never put myself in a way that would fuck up that. I value that peace or that freedom much more than any material bullshit I could go buy. So I want to have so much extra money that it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You could have what you want or buy what you want or etc. So, but when you have a business, I think the vast majority of you are interested in business if you don't already own one. You have to maintain the integrity of your brand, of like do the things that you say you're going to do, even if it's inconvenient, even if circumstances change. You have to hold up your end, and even beyond what's sensible for business reasons, you still have to hold up your end, because you have to live with yourself or feel comfortable with yourself later. It would hurt my confidence too much to betray that. For so many people to trust me and make a commitment to do something, if I didn't do my part, even if not getting paid for it, like this one context, it would bother my confidence too much that it would honestly cost me more money than that in the long run. So I wouldn't feel good about it. So because it's an identity, it's a thought or an identity that I've had for such a long period of time that it would bother my confidence in the future. It costs me more money. So it's a shitty situation to be in. And it'd be really easy for me to just say, but I'm a nice guy and I would never want the clients to get hurt, which is true, but it's both of those things. It's, I'm a nice guy and I don't want to do something fucked up with a client, and also I need to be able to trust myself in the future. But yeah, anyway, just think about that. There's several little tidbits in there, but useful for the way that you plan or structure your own life in some ways. And sometimes you're doing things for other people. Sometimes you want to do things just to maintain your own internal integrity or your own internal brand name, or not have that cognitive dissonance about, I said this or I did that. And there's the shit that there's the things that happen on the contract that I don't have to do any of that shit. I don't have to do any of that, but I just wouldn't feel good about it, I do think it would cost me more money long term. So I'd just rather go do it. So I don't really feel too bad about it for that matter. That, I'm just like, well, yeah, enough said. But the brand name is important. The brand name is important. To have an enduring brand name, you have to live that way. You have to think that way. You have to live that way. Like it's a promise. It's a and you don't have to oversell it. You don't have to. I don't want the sort of client ever that's I am the customer and I paid a couple dollars, so now I'm entitled to your time. And, to which my response would be lick my ass and my balls. Actually, my balls first. Get the fuck out of here. It's like I thought about imagine you paid for the charity auction. Warren Buffett has this annual charity auction he's done for some years that historically sold for $3-point-something million, and I think last year sold for a bit over $4 million. And imagine that you paid $4 million to have lunch with Warren Buffett, but then you're making a lot of demands of him. Just you get it, or that I had. I was never friends with Hugh Hefner, but I've talked with Hugh Hefner, and his brother and I were kind of buddies. That if his brother seen me there, he'd go out of his way to say a couple words to me or hang out for 20 minutes, have a little chat, whatever. And I've been invited to Hugh's house many, many times, more than a dozen times, but it would never occur to me to be at the Playboy Mansion and make demands of Hugh Hefner or something. It would never occur to me that would be a reasonable thing to do. So having a brand name doesn't mean you have to kiss anybody's ass or do things that you find distasteful or incongruent with who you are. Because, I think people kind of know I am very friendly with a lot of people, but somebody that be too demanding of me, it's not somebody that they don't really belong with us, But at the same time, I'm pretty demanding of myself that if one of these programs, you've been in here, yeah.
I've heard about it.
Well, those who have, you mentioned it earlier, is that not you said that you got 2 new streams of income from that.
Oh yeah. Which is crazy because I even said on one of the calls, I've been in business myself for 10 years, and when you're offered that, I was looking to start running companies, and the way I did my business, I just winged it. 10 years, it's successful, but with something like this, that could be shortened to maybe about a year if I did it today, build the same thing I have. But it teaches you the fundamentals of building a company the right way. With little things like, I remember one thing that we had to do for the week, the homework was to look up the 4 companies that are in your industry, the top 4 companies. And I was thinking, man, I've never done that. So I did that, and I looked at the top 4 guys in my area who were in my industry. And I saw some things that they were doing that they weren't doing, that I could do better than them, that I wasn't doing. You know what I'm saying? And so I sat there and I thought, and I got ideas like, shit, I can switch my shit up to where I can do what they're doing, but I can offer it better to the customer. You know what I'm saying? And just that little thing changed. That little thing changed the income in my business, another income stream in my business. And I thought, I was like, shit, 10 years doing this, I never even thought of that. But reading this, you know, just increased my income. Just one little thing, you know? So yeah, man, I mean, there's so many things you learn from it. Even somebody as experienced as me in business to somebody who's just starting, like, you'll learn so much, you know? So.
Those are the best clients, is somebody that's already, you know, smart, or either people that are experienced entrepreneurs already, or people that, I guess I'll say it this way, the smarter or more experienced they are, the more they tend to identify a lot of layers and layers of nuance that, you know, can add to, you know, more results. Just a thought that came to mind while you were saying what you just said is, there's a lot of areas in business, I think, where when you look at those, you know, those top 2, 3, 4 players, and, you know, what they're all doing, you can find little niches that, I think about the investment world this way too, that you can find little niches that, you know, like my little Macerich investment, which is several $1 million, but my little Macerich investment, that's not a big enough play for Warren Buffett or somebody to get excited about. Because if he wanted it, you just go buy the whole company, because he's managing $500 billion. But it's enough for a poor, lowly, struggling person like myself that you spend a few $1 million on that stock and get a 3 or 4x return, I might make $10 million from that one stock. I think I have a good shot at that, actually. So there's a lot of opportunities in business that are like that like the big mega player, Warren Buffett don't give a fuck about $10 million. It don't move the needle, you know? And for him to go buy a large amount of that company, I own about 0.2% of that whole company. So me as an individual, if you go look up their institutional investors, it's like the Ontario Teachers Pension Fund and about 8 different Vanguard accounts they own. They're the number 2 investor, but it's in about 8 different accounts, not just one. And BlackRock and Smead and Northwest Trust and some other ones. So if you look at all the institutional investors that I don't, and they don't show private people, you know, just individual shareholders like myself. They don't show that. They show insiders, and they show institutional investors. I don't know if anybody owns, like a normal person owns more than I do. If it is, it's not more than 3 or 4 or 5 people. It's not. I don't think there's 10 people that own more of that company as individuals. Because if you look at the percentage, it's more than 90% held by institutions. So the other 10% that's floating around, I've got an awful lot of that 10% just myself. There's not a lot of people that would have bigger chunks. So that's a substantial stake. I'm not trying to brag about it. It's fucking, you know, I have $3 million tied up in that stock and in some open orders to buy a few more, buy another $1 million maybe, if we'll see what happens if the stock goes down. But again, there's opportunities for me if that works out well. You know, an extra $10 million is still a considerable chunk of money that, you know, it is life-changing in the sense that it gives you a lot of extra security, you know. Like an extra 10 million's a pretty goddamn good buffer that, you know, if I fucked up everything else I already did in my life and just had that, you still got a very comfortable life.
Even if you didn't sell and you lived off the dividends, you'd do really well.
Yeah. So, you know, in a different entrepreneurial context away from that investing context is like, you know, there might be some big companies out there that are doing, well, think about craft beer. Think how craft beer popped up as an industry, or these like seltzers popped up as industries recently. You know, Budweiser was a $200 billion company. And then there's, you know, Molson Coors and some other, you know, big companies out there, Constellation Brands. So, you know, there's I don't know the real number, but my intuition is maybe there's a, you know, $600 billion or close to $1 trillion market. I don't know the real number. There's, you know, 8 or so publicly traded companies that are significant in like brewing or distilling. So, but you could go pop up your fucking little craft beer thingy in your local community and turn that into a few $1,000,000, well, you could still be making a couple $1,000,000 a year, which for a small level entrepreneur, that's a lot of money, and a company like Budweiser don't have time to give a shit about your little fucking seltzer drink, until there's enough of that pops up that pretty soon they got to pay you fucking, 12 times earnings to buy your little fucking seltzer drink company and consolidate them, Actually, a private equity firm will go buy them for fucking 8, 9, 10 times earnings, and then they'll go sell it to fucking Budweiser, consolidate them and sell them. So, for even more. So, there's a lot of niches that, like a normal guy could go find, $1 million a year income or a few $1,000,000 a year income. And we'll talk about a lot of things like that I did in real estate, in the real estate program that, or we can talk about it tomorrow. If you bring it up, we'll talk about it tomorrow when we have more of a business-focused talk for the mastermind group or for other people that are on one of these programs. But there's a lot of areas in real estate like that, the Toll Brothers or Pulte Homes or something, a big publicly traded company is not going to do it, but some mere mortal like one of us could go find $1 million here and 300,000 there and a couple million over there. Some people might think that if there was money to be made, those big companies would already be doing it. But no, there's a lot of other niches in every business that the huge players, it's not worth their time to be fucking around with it. But if you could make an extra 500 here or 300,000 there or a couple million, for a lot of people here, that's still enough money to be very interesting, So there's a lot of niches like that. There's a lot of niches like that. And just thinking clearly about it, just like you said, thinking clearly about it, or what they said, like be more rational, think clearly about it. Or, in your business, and you did it, all right, but I think I added a couple of good value adds, just like structural things of like, well, make them pay a premium to start first, or, creating tiers and various structures, and not wasting so much time and, cutting through the shit. But, you made a lot of optimizations in I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you share a couple bullet points might be useful for some of the younger guys of some of the opportunities you found in the last few months?
Yeah, I think it's really, I have the luxury to be in the luxury market where there's big margins, right? And you can, if you sell, what I found out basically in a nutshell is you're selling yourself in the right way to charge that premium because they get you. Now they get the Moneyberg version of Tom Bell, like the better, it's like the enhanced. Yeah, I feel like the enhanced version of what I'm doing in business because of a lot of the stuff I learned from Derek. And that was another, on a specific point, this just blew my mind. Just like Kevin saying with like the stuff that there's like, and this is kind of like a little plug for, these programs is that, you're kind of forced to do something like, I think like revealing blind spots in your psychology, revealing blind spots in your business were like some of the, some big takeaways. And I found out that I have 2 clients, and you just mentioned like a couple of home builders. Like I do pools for Toll Brothers in one situation. And my company has always been like, we build the pool at the time of home construction a lot of times. And 2 of our clients they were just kind of handed to me, like Pulte Homes and MI Homes. I'm like, okay, yeah, these guys are like big builders. They're all over, like the United States and stuff. But then all of a sudden I found out that they're publicly traded, and they're on the stock market. So I'm looking at, I'm getting a better, because I'm kind of the pool butler for these 2 builders in Central Florida. And I just had this whole different like mindset on these companies and like how like these opportunities were like like a bowl of ripe cherries. It's just like, holy cow, I can't believe, it's like it just kind of took the veil off of a lot of things that I didn't see, So it's that's in a nutshell, I'd say just exposing the blind spots was probably one of the greatest things that and the blind spots in myself. And I'm still like, I'm still struggling with some things in my life that I know that I'm going to overcome because I've hit that compounding interest point where it's like, okay, I need to tweak this, and I'm going to start fixing it at this level, and it's just going to compound, and it's going to get solved. So, yeah, thank you, Derek. And I appreciate you letting me speak, because I know I'm just on this as an observer, but hopefully I can, sort of echo and support a lot of what you're saying and a lot of what we've benefited from being in your programs.
The entrepreneurial mindset, the reason I'm asking some of the guys to talk about business stuff, or really he brought that up when we got down that thread, and even when I was willing to change the subject, other people keep coming back to it because it was useful to your lives too, but there's so much overlap of in entrepreneurial thinking in your dating life is just like not being a bitch, looking for opportunities, willing to look stupid on occasion, willing to be stupid on occasion. There's that when I jump over a barrier into a dry fountain to get a penny, and I'm so excited about the penny. And is that the same sort of it might sound absurd to some of you, but it's that same sort of entrepreneurial thinking that it's like how many other people walked by that fucking penny and looked at it even, but they wouldn't take one step across the thing, get across the little barrier that high to go get the fucking penny. There's the same fucking thing of so many business opportunities that I think I could do that, but nah, if money was possible there, somebody else would have already got it. No, go get the fucking money. If everybody here has seen it, did you guys not all see an opportunity, even the young ones? Did you not already see opportunities in your life that you're like, I think I could go get money like that, and you didn't do it, and then later you seen somebody else getting that money that you should have? Did anybody else have that experience? I think most of you would have. Yeah. So it ain't that you motherfuckers are too stupid to go get the money. You need to think through some of the permutations of the first quarter of that. We're just talking about thought processes. We're talking how to think and how to have more confidence of and those words aren't strong enough because it sounds generic, but it's really quite a comprehensive way of how to think about the world or how to make high quality decisions. So the first 75 hours of the program is how to make higher quality decisions, how to feel more confident in your decision-making abilities and get shit done. And then you start building a lot of other business practices on that, and then you can talk about economics and entrepreneurial finance and how to get money, how to think about various formal academic practices of, and then reading financial statements, raising capital again, things like that. So there's a lot of things you can add on top of that, but if you're not thinking clearly or you're not don't feel comfortable once you identify an opportunity to go fucking get the shit, then that other stuff is, there's a lot of assholes out there that think about what an accountant is, and I don't mean to make fun of accountants so much. I spent plenty of time studying accounting myself, but think about what an accountant is like a person that should know the numbers and tax law, math, how a business functions. An accountant over time becomes kind of an expert at how a business functions and learns the psychology of how people fuck things up and how people make things successful. Yeah, do you know a lot of ultra wealthy accountants? So there's a person that that's an industry. There's a whole industry of people that know math better than their clients. They know accounting better than their clients. They know tax law better than their clients. They know the psychology. If you have a bunch of clients, you understand the psychology of what are the archetypes of people that tend to make money over time, and what are the archetypes or behaviors that people engage in that go fuck up the money, and yet they don't go do something with it. They have more expertise in the area than most of the entrepreneurs that they'd be serving, and yet they don't go get the fucking money. So I've thought that's an extraordinary thing, really. And then the next generation of accountants go do the same thing. If you had a good brain to be a good accountant, you think you could go fucking find some different money outside of being a fucking CPA or something. But most of them don't. They don't have that creativity, or for some of them they even do have creativity, but they don't have the confidence to go do it. That's something those other people do. It's a scary thing. It's just what we were talking about. It's just something those other people do, that a couple of dummies like you and I, what do we know? If there's so much money, then one of those big companies must be doing it already, right? It's not. There's places you can go get a few $100,000 here and a couple million there. It ain't worth their time, but it'd be a lot of money to, an individual or a mere mortal like us,
I quit my job 2 weeks before starting the Moneyberg mentoring program. My goal for this period, for the 3 months, was to make my first dollar in revenue. Not only have I succeeded in achieving that goal, but I'm now matching the income that I was making from my consulting job, my job in management consulting in London. That is crazy. I didn't even believe that was possible until I started the Moneyberg mentoring program. I'm so impressed by the caliber of people that are in the program, the business opportunities that are available by working with people, the relationships and the possibilities.
Thanks for watching. Success is not for everybody, and it may not be for you. If you are or on your way to be a millionaire or multimillionaire, probably going to want to spend time with my clients. Probably going to want to have a personal relationship with me so we can accelerate that process, get you living up to your maximum potential, earning your maximum wage. You're going to want to click that follow button. You're going to want to click that bell and get notifications. Tune in every Friday. Tune in every Monday. You're going to love what you see. I look forward to having you as a client in the future.